Good morning, folks. Let's have an article start. All are linked right below the video. The first one details and moves forward the understood seafloor ridge mechanisms resultant of Earth's orbital and tilt angle changes over long periods of time. Interestingly, they say it's ice ages affecting the pressure on the upper mantle and sequential up and downs of just how much of it melts due to pressure pushing it down into the hotter layers. The article of the year may just have come here on one of the last days. The solar wind. The interplanetary electric field, involving interplay with the interplanetary magnetic field, affects the weather. They state that the positive versus negative element of the solar wind has the single greatest effect at mid to high latitude. And check this, with all that talk of the electric and magnetic fields, they specifically claim that they do not theorize a mechanism for this action, and do so amidst a charged solar wind field, interacting with the sphere magnet of a planet down into the electric layers of our atmosphere, specifically affecting the cloud formation and therefore static buildup and discharge of lightning or worse. Oh, I bet Electric Universe folks can theorize a mechanism or two. Let's go to the weather. Cyclone Christine indeed got her name yesterday as predicted. She's going to dive down towards the coastline now. Take heed. Across east of Australia, saw a tornado dropped on New Zealand with a small but strong low crossing the islands. Let's come now to Europe. The north and east feeling it with another on the way. Cleanup from the last storm unlikely to finish before the next one arrives. Also got an oil leak causing evacuations at those same problematic platforms up north. Low at the Canadian border, keeping snow north and down along the backside to the west, while record end-of-year warmth is accompanying the northern drive on the leading east edge. Contrast a clockwise driving high at the west coast currently drenching from Seattle north. Took a new gamma burst last night out of the Orion constellation. The more relevant high-energy event came from our star. An M3 solar flare came out of yesterday's 1.5 deltas region I described. It's early, but a small CME appears on its way to Earth. Let's look at the sunspots and also clear up a bit of confusion that I now see enough of to mention. Got 3 groups to check. The departing active regions are huge but magnetically separated. Do not confuse the solid positive blue umbral core with a bipolar sunspot. On the limbs, the opposite penumbral and surface polarity is highly visible past the umbra. Looking at the incoming group, you see it flipped with the positive core, but the negative penumbral and surface polarity visible beyond that umbra. This doesn't happen center disk, where I'm now counting at least 2 deltas, potentially a third, and another candidate in development. Even in a solar magnetic weakening, that has got to give us more M flares at least. Solar wind, showing a brief density jolt yesterday and spittling speed barely above average. No disturbance, barely worth mentioning. But then so why did the electron flux take a dive and the proton flux go nuts last night into a polar radiation storm, which is now waning? Well, in the evening news last night, I guessed that the proton flux was from the density shock or one of the backside or limb eruptions, and this morning I will call out this limb eruption as the cause. Dr. Phillips of SPACEWEATHER.com agrees. Just look at Earth's connection points to the Sun. All in those departing coronal holes that are right on the limb where that eruption occurred. It was likely a higher level flare given the size of the CME and rapid rise to the flux. Even though Earth's magnetic connectivity is to the departing groups, we know that the incoming coronal hole magnetics began affecting Earth 2 nights ago. That coronal hole is listed as having significant power and is just about Earth facing now with the fields completely open and not blocking. There she is in 193 angstroms with 5 celestial bodies approaching this conjunction point as well. The upticks have begun. Got unusual rumbling this morning to complement a number of near 6-pointers yesterday afternoon, including Turkey, the Atlantic, a near 5-pointer in Croatia, and the West Pacific rumbling with Tonga foreshocking all the way up to the Mariana Islands. Potential seafloor disturbances abounding according to the buoys. Watch score is 8 for the first time this month and should last into the new year. Shots of our star to close, eyes open. No fear, it's 6:45 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Be safe, everyone.